Yes, this is for the ghost tours. It's not normally here.
I love it. Okay. Well, I think it should be there.
No, she's creepy.
I like it.
She's on loan to us from a donor. So the pictures in this room, and actually the setup of this room, is the nursery for the last generation of children. So as I said, we're working backwards.
Yes, you're right.
So we have George the farmer, which is the last George who owned this house. He's not the last George. The last George was his son by Millie Ryerson, who is, of course, the survivor of the Titanic. That George was a fighter pilot in World War II, and he died, along with one of his sisters, who was also a pilot during World War II. It was very sad.
I didn't know
and
that.
tragic.
Yeah.
So, just talk about George the farmer. He must not have been a very easy man to get along with. His first wife was Millie Ryerson, who had a very sad history. She attended boarding school in Europe, as did most of the children and wives of the Clark family. And she was vacationing, essentially, from boarding school. Her family, minus her older brother, went to visit her. This is in 1912. Her older brother dies of a car crash while his family is in Europe. So they need to get on a boat back to America as quickly as possible. That boat is the Titanic. So, tragedy after tragedy. She, her sister, her mother, and her brother all survive. Her father does not. So in a very short amount of time, she loses her older brother and her father. That being said, she does inherit quite a bit of wealth, which I'm sure made her attractive to George Clark. Because again, he's in a very large house with...
Does that bother you?
No, it's okay.
You got red eyes. Right, the sun disappeared on me here.
Yes. So she marries George Clark. Initially, they are quite happy, but very shortly after, Millie and her $10,000 annual allowance is no longer looking attractive to George, and she's not happy here at all. They're really not living in the house, like living in it. They're here for the summer months, and then they live in New York, and she and George drift apart, and they do divorce in 1933. You can tell how unhappy they were because she remarries the same year as does George. She marries a man named Stephen Beach Cook with an E on the end, and he is an actor, and all of her children really, really adore him. That being said, one of her children is a woman by the name of Anne Clark Logan. And Anne Clark Logan was the second to last child of the Millie George the farmer partnership. And she recalls, again, very happy memories here in the house. She had a very sort of scattered childhood in both schooling and in who's taking care of her when, as is true with most children of divorce. She's a very highly educated woman, both through private schools and through public schools. And she ends up inheriting some of the land here, which of course ends up going to the state.
Okay, when she got remarried, they lived here?